And at number 10, we have David Dobrik. Starting off this list, we have the most obvious person, David Dobrik. David Dobrik might be finished now that he's being accused of perpetuating a toxic environment and even facilitating the SA of a girl bi Vlog Squad member, Dirty Dom. Over the span of his cancellation, tons of clips have resurfaced showing David being racist and homophobic. He's also made his friends do terrible stunts that have landed them in the hospital. Currently, tons of sponsors have dropped David, including SeatGeek, who helped him give away free cars to most of his friends. As well, his monetization has been stripped from his YouTube channel. In his last apology, he said he would be taking a few months off social media, and I guess only time will tell if he's welcomed back. In at number 9, James Charles. James Charles has had lingering backlash after he was exposed for sending lewd photos to his fan. And this was not the first time James has been accused of this. Fans estimate that it's his third time getting exposed for this kind of inappropriate conduct. James ended up addressing the backlash on his Twitter. However, people in the replies did not accept the explanation. Even though more accusers have come out against James, he hasn't addressed the backlash further. However, most of the comments on his post are asking him to address it another time and pledge to actually change his behavior. Currently, James is avoiding the backlash, hoping it will just go away, but it doesn't seem like his fans will let this one slide. In at number 8, Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom is not only cancelled, but there's a high chance that he could face jail time with what's come out about him. Multiple women have come forward with their stories of being harassed by Dom, with the focal point of the recent Insider article being how Dom forced himself on a girl named Hannah while she was intoxicated. Dom's career was starting to fall off ever since he stopped appearing in the vlogs regularly, and with these more recent allegations, I would be shocked if he ever comes back to YouTube. In at number 7, Jason Nash. Jason Nash is David Dobrik's right-hand man, and he appears in practically all of his content, from vlogs to their shared podcast. And that means that Jason has been a part of almost all of the controversial events that have taken place with David and the squad. The most controversial stunt that Jason has been a part of is the SA prank on Seth Francois. This prank is what really started the downfall of the entire crew. And if you need a quick refresher, basically David told Seth that he was going to be making out with Corinna Kopp, but Corinna needed to be in a face mask for some reason. Then after they had made out for an uncomfortably long amount of time, it was revealed that the person that Seth was kissing wasn't actually Corinna, but rather Jason. Many have called him out for partaking in the disgusting stunt, and it seems like he's going to be cancelled right along with David. In at number 6, Ryland Adams. Ryland Adams is engaged to disgraced YouTube star Shane Dawson, who was cancelled in 2020. And although Ryland got backlash because of Shane's scandals, he wasn't in a scandal of his own until 2021. This all started when Jeffrey's hairstylist, Hair by Jay, said nasty things about Trisha on his live. As a result, Trisha lashed out, trashing Jeffrey and Shane for associating with Jay. But since both of them were offline at that time, Ryland decided to respond on his podcast, The Sit, which was a terrible idea, because Trisha then lashed out at just Ryland, exposing all the reasons she thinks Ryland is a bad person. And it worked, with all of Trisha's fans flooding his podcast and video comments to express their anger over the feud. And it's so bad that months later, Ryland admitted that he still gets negative comments on his content. Halfway at number 5, Gabby DiMartino. YouTuber Gabby DiMartino was cancelled after it was exposed that she sold inappropriate photos of on OnlyFans, which was essentially selling illegal content to people that expected it to be sexual in nature because of the nature of OnlyFans. And because of a leaked DM conversation, we know it was intended to be this way, with her saying in the conversation, quote, "won't put my panties on." The backlash for this one was swift, and she ended up addressing it all on her channel in a short video. After the scandal, she rebranded, but quickly changed back to her old, fancy aesthetic, with people wondering if the rebrand was only to take people's attention off of the scandal. In at number 4, the Dolan twins. So this one's a little different, because the twins chose to end their own YouTube careers by deciding to officially stop posting on their channel. They posted the announcement on their podcast, saying that they wanted to try other endeavors and are burnt out from producing YouTube content. They thanked their fans for supporting them and asked them to stick around to see what they do next. Since their announcement, they have posted sporadically on their Instagram accounts, so I guess we'll have to wait and see if they make a real return. But based on the comments, it seems their fans would love to have them back. In at number 3, Nikita Dragon. Over 2020 and into 2021, Nikita Dragon has made a lot of questionable decisions, and it seems like the internet has entirely turned on her. She's been called out many times for partying during COVID, as well as rarely wearing a mask when out in public. And if she was wearing a mask, it usually wasn't worn correctly. She also got called out for still supporting the Lopez brothers after their multiple scandals. There were also allegations coming out against Nikita that she was pursuing young men, when photos came out that she commented on her then boyfriend's photo asking if he was 18 yet, which is a little creepy. In at number 2, Shane Dawson. So obviously Shane Dawson was on tons of these lists in 2020 when he was originally cancelled, but it seems that his cancellation might last into 2021. Shane has been hinting that he'll be coming back to YouTube soon, but the reaction to this has been mixed. He recently posted to his community tab telling fans he'd be coming back soon and he's excited to make content again. But most of the top comments are just people telling him to not come back and saying that he isn't forgiven yet. Shane was also publicly dropped by one of his longest friends, Trisha Paytas, in 2021. So there's definitely going to be a lot of backlash when he does decide to come back. And finally at number 1, Cole Kerrigan. Cole Kerrigan is a YouTuber who's known for being in drama. His biggest scandal was in 2019 when he accused the Ace family's Austin McBroom of forcing himself on one of Cole's friends. But he's been in even more drama in 2021. He publicly stated that he hooked up with Kanye West while Kanye was married to Kim Kardashian, and he even received a lawsuit from Kanye's bodyguard after making these statements online. We haven't really heard much on it since, so many people think that he was just lying. He also recently accused Hannah Mojo of hacking and deleting multiple of his social media accounts. So it seems that he's even made enemies out of his former friends. And at number 10, Morgan Wallen. Country singer Morgan Wallen was cancelled this year after he was caught using the N-word on a security camera in February. Wallen was already on thin ice with the public after he left the Saturday Night Live crew scrambling to replace him as the musical guest on the show when he broke quarantine guidelines the day before his appearance. At the time the footage was released, Wallen had one of the most successful country albums ever made. But after the incident, he apologized, saying, quote, "I'm embarrassed and sorry. I used an unacceptable and inappropriate racial slur that I wish I could take back." His music was also banned from being played on many radio stations, and he was taken out of playlists on Spotify. He has stayed out of the press since. And at number 9, Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson is one of the most successful YouTubers ever, as he's managed to stay relevant on the platform for over a decade. However, his success has been riddled with controversy for basically his entire time on the internet. Back in the early days, he would play black characters in skits and even wear blackface as he put on a strong black scent. It was also exposed that he would make inappropriate jokes about his young fans and would talk about overly sexual content with them. Shane always managed to talk his way out of these scandals, and he would come back better than before. But in 2020, he experienced his biggest cancellation to date, and all the problematic behavior from his past resurfaced. He was even publicly called out by Jada and Jaden Smith for a disturbing incident relating to Willow Smith. After everything was exposed, he was dropped from all his sponsors, and he hasn't returned to the internet since. And at number 8, Lea Michele. Lea Michele's cancellation was the cancellation that kicked off 2020. After Lea tweeted out in support of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, many of her black former castmates came forward speaking of their terrible experiences working with Lea. Many said that she treated them differently because of their race, and Lea would even make derogatory comments relating to the black community, like telling one woman that she was going to defecate in her wig. This spawned even more criticism of Lea, with people saying that she was just an all-around spoiled brat and was rude to every person on set. After being dropped from multiple sponsors, Lea posted an apology to Instagram. She stayed silent online for many months and has now started posting again. And at number 7, David Dobrik. David was another star that went through a massive cancellation in 2020. It started when Trisha Paytas and Ethan Klein interviewed many of David's past Vlog Squad members and shared the details of their toxic experiences. Then an insider article came out exposing that someone had been SA'd while filming for David's vlog, showing that he facilitates a toxic frat boy environment where illegal things take place. And just when you think things couldn't get any worse for David, it was revealed that he was personally responsible for Jeff Wittick's life-threatening eye injury. This injury is so bad that Jeff is not even fully healed over a year later. Because of all of this, David's ads were cut from YouTube, along with losing all of his sponsors. He was even forced to step down from his own app, Dispo. David released multiple apology videos, which were mostly roasted on the internet. And after a 3-month-long break, he returned to vlogging. And at number 6, J.K. Rowling. Author J.K. Rowling was beloved for her Harry Potter novels that broke records worldwide for being one of the most successful franchises ever. However, since her rise to fame, Rowling has received a constant stream of controversy for allegedly being transphobic, and she's tweeted out multiple statements over the years that have been called out as transphobic. She also supports TERFism, which is a belief that trans women aren't women and that biological sex is the only factor that determines gender. The backlash against all this got even worse when she released a novel where a man was dressing up as a woman in order to dupe female victims and kill them. Halfway at number 5, James Charles. James Charles is another influencer that is constantly involved in drama. Back in 2019, in the midst of the Bi Sisters scandal, James went through the biggest cancellation YouTube had ever seen because of allegations from Tati Westbrook and Jeffree Star that James was using his influence to trick men, specifically straight men, into being with him romantically. James was actually able to refute a lot of the claims, and his career quickly came back. However, recently tons of teens under the legal age have come forward to expose that they sent and received inappropriate photos from James on Snapchat, with many even providing proof. A recent tweet from Keemstar states that currently 6 teenagers have come out against James so far, but it was later proved that the number is much higher. James tried to brush off the allegations a number of times, but when fans demanded answers, he uploaded a YouTube video admitting to everything. And at number 4, Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy was involved in a massive scandal recently after several old tweets were exposed. It started when Courtney Stodden exposed that Chrissy would bully them publicly and even privately, even though they didn't even know each other. The tweets told Stodden to go to sleep forever and told her that she looked like an idiot. And to make things worse, Stodden alleged that Chrissy would not just tweet about them, but also send them private messages. These messages apparently told Stodden to end their own life and told Stodden that Teigen couldn't wait for them to die. This scandal actually took place months after another scandal where it was speculated as to whether Chrissy had ties to disgraced billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. Since Chrissy is constantly in scandals, she often takes breaks from her social media platforms, and many criticize her for dishing out constantly but not being able to take it back. And at number 3, Billie Eilish. Billie has been going through a pretty rough patch recently, and it seems that every month something bad is getting exposed about her. Recently, a video went viral where Billie was mocking an Asian accent, as well as mouthing the C word, a slur for Asian people. She also has been constantly called out for using a black scent and strongly emulating black culture. This scandal came just days after Billie's last scandal where she's accused of queer baiting. This accusation happened after Billie posted some behind the scenes footage from her Lost Cause music video. The caption on that was, quote, "I love girls." Many felt she might be insinuating she could be queer to gain attention. However, others felt it was her way of subtly coming out but not putting any labels. To add on to the number of scandals that Billie currently finds herself in, her new boyfriend, 29-year-old Matthew Tyler Vorse, was exposed for tweeting racist and homophobic things in the past, and he recently apologized for that online. And at number 2, the Lopez brothers. The Lopez brothers of TikTok have been getting intense backlash after it was exposed that both brothers participated in illegal conduct with. It started with Tony Lopez, when multiple girls came forward and showed text messages and DMs proving that Tony knew of their ages but still had contact with them. As a result of all this, Tony was sued by 2 of the teenagers for his actions, although he has vehemently denied all the claims. Next on to Andreas. Andreas Lopez, the older brother in the Lopez brothers, also has been accused of having relations with a 14-year-old girl. After the incident, the girl's friend posted a video to TikTok of Andreas having a conversation with the girl's mother, where the mother says that Andreas, quote, could go to jail for what he did. And finally, number 1, Trisha Paytas. Trisha is easily the most controversial person on the entire internet. Trisha's been on the platform for over a decade and has managed to stay relevant because of her crazy antics and affiliations with other huge influencers like Shane Dawson and Ethan Klein. Most recently, the internet was actually starting to love Trisha again, and fans were ecstatic about the Frenemies podcast. However, things quickly went south with the podcast, and after Trish walked off the podcast 3 separate times, Ethan has decided the Frenemies is done. Ethan has now changed the podcast to be Families, starring his parents. And Ethan has exposed the toxic treatment that Trisha put him through. Ethan says that he was constantly walking on eggshells and would do anything possible to avoid offending Trish. But after a while, he just couldn't take the stress anymore.